my fellow lady, fellow engineer, my boss, the Dean of Faculty of Engineering, Dr. Catherine Wandera. Please, you may have the seat. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme is quite interesting. I don't know whether we understand it. But if we don't, that's why this panel is here to demystify science, technology, and innovation for community development. So I will set the ball rolling by briefly introducing our keynote speaker to take the stage and make a keynote speech, and our panelists will join him. And I think Engineer Mohamud Lutaya is the general manager for Kampala Water, the National Water and Sewerage Corporation. He's a very insightful person in engineering. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering from Makerere University, Master in Infrastructure Planning from University of Stuttgart, German. He has 18 years experience of working with national water. Ladies and gentlemen, water is life. So this gentleman is going to take us through what we would love to hear and know about science, technology, innovation in regards to water and infrastructure. Engineer Mohamud Lutaya, you're welcome to give us your keynote address.
Here to make this keynote on behalf of Dr. Engineer Silva Mugisha, the Managing Director of National Water, who couldn't be here, would have loved to be here. I was talking to Dr.'s team when he passed on the information that he couldn't make it today, and she was very disappointed. But she told me that today morning she's not disappointed at all, that at least there's someone to make this presentation. So Dr. Silva would have loved to be here because I think he has a lot of passion for science, technology, and academics. And he's been a lecturer here before. And I think when he got the invitation, he was very excited. But unfortunately, he couldn't make it. But on my side, it's a privilege to be the one to make this keynote. And the topic that was shared with him was harnessing infrastructure, innovation, technology, and partnerships for socio-economic development. And I think the organizers couldn't have picked a better person or a better organization to share what we've tried to do in this regard. We know how important water is as far as socio-economic development is concerned. Any improvement in water services and sanitation has a direct impact on driving socio-economic development, and that's basically what National has tried to do. So in making this keynote, I'm going to draw a lot of experience in what we've done as an organization to harness infrastructure, innovations, in technology and partnerships, in trying to make sure that we better the people we serve. Unfortunately, the slide might not be very clear. The slide here basically talks about what National is as an organization. Is a public entity 100% owned by the government of Uganda. It was established in 1972, and its mandate was provide water and sewage services in urban areas that were interested in it on a financial and commercial basis. When it started serving, we're operating in 3 towns, that is 1972. 8 years ago, we had 23 towns that were largely the large urban centers, but there was that argument that you can't be a national entity when you're only in 23 towns. So since then, we've had a very aggressive strategy to expand geographically and try to reach out as many Ugandans as possible. And right now, we're operating in over 262 towns across the country. We have a very ambitious vision as an organization to be the leading service-oriented utility in the world. We're trying to go beyond. And our purpose as National is water for all, for a delighted customer, by a delighted workforce. Again, it's very important that we just don't provide the service, but the customer is the center of it, and the people who provide it are very critical. We have a few core values that we stand for, and most importantly, innovation is very key as far as our core values are concerned. I don't want to go through all of them, but just to emphasize what drives us, what defines us as an organization. This slide basically, unfortunately, again, the figures might be too small, but try to summarize the journey that National has walked. On the slide, it shows where the organization was in 1990 and where it is right now. And this has definitely in the context when we talk about socio-economic development. We're serving, by 1990, we're serving 5 towns in Kampala. Right now, we're serving 262 towns. It means that we managed to reach many Ugandans. We had a population served of 5 million. Right now, we're serving over 18 million Ugandans. We had around 50,000 connections. We have almost 800 customers being served. We had a network length of less than 300 kilometers. Right now, we are talking about 20,000 kilometers of network length. Now, this is really infrastructure development. And then in terms of turnover, we have increased. We have annual turnover of around $130 million per year. So there's been significant impact of our progress as far as impact society. We've had increase in coverage. We have almost 85% of the people served, especially the towns where I am. Then also we facilitated and contributed to the industrial growth of the country, where all the industries, one of our focus, make sure that they're properly served with water and sewage services. But most importantly, the people who served, there's been impact as far as their health is concerned and productivity as well. So also projecting where we should be in the next 5 years as an organization. We try to align ourselves to the SDGs, the National Development Plan as an organization, and all the government aspirations. As an organization, we are basically summarizing our 5-year strategy in 5 indicators. One is the asset base, which is a direct reflection of the infrastructure development. Right now, we have around 3.9 trillion in asset base, and we want to drive this to almost 6 trillion by the end of the next 5 years. So it means that we have to do a lot in investment in infrastructure. We also talking about the customer base. We have around 800,000 customers. Our aspiration is to move this to around 1.2 million in the next 5 years. Again, this is talking about impacting more people and more Ugandans. Then also the other most important thing is the customer satisfaction index. How many of our customers are satisfied again with our service? We want to drive this to 90%. The other indicator is in respect to the staff engagement satisfaction. And again, this again relates to the investment in skills development. And we want to drive this to almost 90%. Now, one of our biggest challenge, again, innovations come through the challenges we face as an organization, as a country. Right now, our biggest challenge as a utility, as an organization, is in the losses that we incur. Right now, we're losing around 30% of the volume water that we produce. And our biggest challenge right now, or ambition, is to drive this to below 33%. And for us to achieve this, we have to invest a lot in innovation and technology and smart solutions. And I'll try to highlight how we intend to do this. There are a number of strategic focus areas that we've tried to come up with, all aligned to NDP 3, One is industrialization as one of our focus areas where we intend to make sure that all industries are 100% serviced with water and sanitation. And then also talking about infrastructure development. That touches about our ambition to drive our asset base to almost 6 trillion, but also develop infrastructure to reach as many Ugandans as possible. Then we talk about workforce and skills development, investing in the team, in the skills, in new knowledge as an organization is very critical. Private sector participation is another focus area we have, and also having a health and productive entity is another important area. So there are so many things. Our vision is having a smart utility. And to have a smart utility, innovation, technology is at the heart of it. I won't dwell so much on what have been our key drivers as an organization, but most importantly, the workforce has been very, very important. As an organization, we've had partnerships with a number of academic institutions, even Kyambogo, to try to skill and strengthen the productivity of our team. On top of that, we've also have had our own vocational training facilities where we're able to make sure that we impart new skills to our team. So again, staff development and skilling in order to have a very productive workforce has been very important. We've had to innovate in financing. One of the biggest challenge most entities have, especially on the side of water, is access to financing for infrastructure development. As an organization, we've had to come up with innovations where we have a blend of public investment, commercial investment, and also improving our own capacity to be able to finance most of the infrastructure. So we have a number of flagship projects that are being 100% financed by the resources that we made through the improvements in efficiency, but also right now we're able to borrow as a public entity to be able to finance a number of infrastructure. Our long-term objective aspiration is to make sure that we can be as financially independent as possible, where we can be able to finance most of the infrastructure. So this is where, again, we have to be innovative, not just in the way we do things, but also in the way we mobilize resources for financing. So we've had a lot of support in terms of donor projects. We've had a lot of effort and intentions as far as innovation and technology adaptation in the organization is concerned. And I will share just a slide on some of the innovations we've tried to do as an organization. We've tried to focus a lot on improving efficiency, and our focus right now on dealing with non-water is one of those areas. But most importantly, we have a very strong mindset of doing it yourself. We believe as an organization and as a country, if we are to develop, we have to develop mindset that we can actually solve most of our problems and don't rely a lot on outsiders. And as National Water, we've tried to show that, and most of the solutions we are using are developed internally. We have a very aggressive strategy to deal with costs and optimize and use the resources that we have more efficiently. We've tried to innovate around investment implementation, where we've tried to cut down the cost of investment by using different methods. So in the long term, we've managed to save resources that have helped us to implement other projects. Just to highlight some of the initiatives that are being developed internally, we came up with a resolution as an organization that most of the, especially IT solutions, we don't buy off-shelf. We have a dedicated software development team in-house. And again, we draw a lot of support from institutions, Makerere and also Kyambogo, to develop our own solutions. I think we are among the first institutions that went e-payment, where we closed all cash offices. And these solutions were developed in-house. And there are so many other solutions that you see us using in providing the services. All these are being developed in-house. We're trying to move away from off-shelf systems that have been developed to developing customized solutions that respond to some of the challenges that we have. And in the long term, we want to have an integrated MRP, but internally developed by the organization. So we've also had so many innovations in terms of new products, in terms of processes that we've done in-house from the engineering side. We have now doing on-site chlorination generation. So before we'd have most of the chlorine imported, to the country. Right now we're moving to the process whereby you can get salt from Lake Country and have the chlorine generated on site at the treatment plant. We have, most customers have been asking about the prepaid meters. When are we having prepaid meters for water? I think it's been working well with Umeme. The challenge we're having right now is the cost of the prepaid. If we are to buy them from outside, you find the cost is almost $1,000 per meter. So our strategy is to see how we can have these meters manufactured in country. So already we have a team. We have come up with a prototype for our prepaid meters. We've been in touch with a number of partners, including Industrial Research Institute, to see how we can have some of these meters manufactured in the country. We believe by end of next year we should have most of the meters that we use manufactured, at least as a minimum, assembled in Uganda, so that we minimize the cost of these key inputs in our services, but also provide opportunities for employment, but most importantly, create innovations that are supposed to drive our institutions forward and our country forward. We have the asset management solutions. I know off-shelf, there are so many solutions that are out there. As an organization, we've gone to developing our own that meets our demands. We have a number of other solutions and interventions that we come up with. I might not mention all of them, but the idea is that the most important thing as an entity, as an institution, is that we're trying as much as possible to develop the things in-house, because we believe what the Chinese can do, we can also do. So what have been the driving forces, what we believe are the 5 driving forces for social economic development? One is having a clear understanding of productivity. And in our case, we've made it very clear. We understand what we want. How do we want to be? What do we mean by if we are to be efficient? What do we mean? How do we make our staff a bit more productive? We've been very clear on that. I mentioned that we have a very, very strong mindset of doing it ourselves. I think from the reforms we've had as National, all these reforms have been in-house, internally driven. And just to highlight, also National has a consultants arm. So we call it external services, and we provided support and consultants to a number of utilities across the world, including India and Nigeria. We've been Trinidad and Tobago, just to reflect that if we believe in ourselves, if we can have that mindset, there's nothing that is impossible. We're investing a lot in R&D, research and development. And again, this is very critical if we are to harness technology and innovation in any entity or in any country. And then also having the right leadership, I think, becomes very, very important. I think without leadership, most of the things are not possible. Then collaboration and also mutualism and reciprocity becomes very important. Collaboration with institutions like academic institutions, what we've done. National has quite enough partnerships with a number of institutions, both locally but also internationally, when it comes to skills development and inspiring innovation is concerned. And this has been very critical, and it's one of the driving factors that we can share. So in conclusion, there's definitely a significant gain that can drive, that can be driven from infrastructure, innovation, technology, and partnership for social economic development. Thank you.
A round of applause once again. Did you not drink water? That is not enough. Thank you so much. I know the audience are burning with some questions, but keep the questions. I will open the ground for questions. At this juncture, I would like to invite our other panelists to say something in just 5 minutes. That is Dr. Geoffrey Sengendo from UCC. He's head of research and service development at UCC. He's ICT professional with a master's in operations in communications. He has an experience of 22 years working with the UCC. And he's an expert in regulatory and policy issues. Ladies and gentlemen, communication is key in whatever we do. And I know that Dr. Sengendo is going to give us a brief information about communication in regards to STEAM. STEAM. Dr. Geoffrey, you're welcome. Just in 5 minutes, anywhere where you're comfortable, please.
Thank you very much, the moderator, and good morning to you all. It's my pleasure to be here. I represent the Chief Executive of the Uganda Communications Commission, who sends our apologies for having been unable to be here because of other engagements. The Uganda Communications Commission is a government agency created by a statute of parliament, primarily responsible for ensuring communications sector development in Uganda. And it is well known that the level of ICT development in any country has a direct correlation with its GDP. But specifically for today, I would like to respond to the topic, demystifying science, technology, and innovation for communications development. And from where I sit, from where I've sat for the last 22 years, we have addressed a number of challenges in recognition that, one, ICT is an enabler for socio-economic development. I would like to demystify this and use a specific example in reference to my colleague, the doctor from National Water. National Water and Sewage Corporation has successfully provided a service of access to all citizens in this country in as far as possible. It's countrywide. Now, we've seen a number of innovations and initiatives that they've put in place that are dependent on technology, more specifically ICT. Now, when you look at the system, the ecosystem, the chain, you have a consumer on one side of the chain, most importantly, and you have the provider of service, the National Water, all relying on technology, but the primary goal of satisfying the consumer. Now, as you see, one of the challenges we've addressed is, for example, National Water has endeavored to provide that services based on a number of ICT solutions or innovations, infrastructure, but is the consumer able to utilize and appreciate these services based on, enabled by ICT? Can they use the computers? Can they use the phones to access the bills? Can they use email to complain if there is if they need to inquire, there's a problem with the bill, they need clarification, there's a water shortage. There is the basic fundamental challenge of, one, access to the services, but also ability to use these services enabled by ICT and appreciate the services also enabled by ICT. So you have the consumer and you have the provider. In between, you have infrastructure. For that to be, for those two ends to connect, there is need for reliable infrastructure. It must be reliable to provide a timely and efficient service. And it must be affordable. It must be affordable. And there must be appropriate content. Content that suits the consumer needs. Why do we need clean water, for example? We need clean water to be healthy. How are you going to transmit that information countrywide in real time to access, for that information to reach out to a number of people? You need effective ICT solutions, and people need to be able to use these solutions ably. So what we've done as UCC in this regard is recognize that there is a literacy gap. And in recognition that there's a literacy gap, we've embarked on a number of programs, training programs to, one, integrate ICT in schools. And to date, we've supported over 1,400 school labs with computers. We have embarked on several ICT training programs, and also in recognition that everybody has got the right to ICT, we have a program that focuses on literacy, digital literacy training for women and people with disabilities. And we've collaborated with NOUDU, the National Organization for Women with Disabilities of Uganda. And also, for the success of this, there is need for collaboration. Collaboration with institutions like the academia. We've got a number of collaborations with the academia. And for those in Kyambogo, the good news is that we'll have the National Communications Conference subject to approval at Kyambogo next year. Yes. So, in a nutshell, what am I saying? There is need for that collaboration in ensuring that science and technology and innovation can enable socio-economic development. And what we've done through this is to support a number of digital literacy programs. We've also recognized some challenges that we are addressing that come about in trying to have economic development using ICT. Cyber security. There's cyber crime. I think a lot of you are aware of this program we're running now called Tom Feda. The number of conmen calling people. So ICT may not be trusted. So our role as the UCC is to ensure there is awareness. There's another challenge. Child online protection is a must. Our children are watching and getting unwanted content from these technologies. And so as we have these efforts to enable development, we also have got to address some of these challenges. In the interest of time, I will stop here, but I'm able to receive any questions. Thank you very much, and thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much. A round of applause. Wow, communication, very important aspect. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to introduce Dr. Wandera Catherine, who is the Dean of Faculty of Engineering. Dr. Catherine has a doctorate of science in mechanical engineering. And she has a vast experience in academia. She's a senior lecturer in Department of Mechanical and Production Engineering. She's the Dean Faculty of Engineering, the first lady to hold that position in the university. So ladies are not letting us down in this supposedly complex arena. So ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Catherine, you're welcome to steam us in 5 minutes, say something that is going to steam us.
Thank you so much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think I can speak while seated here.
Feel free.
The topic we're given to discuss this morning is harnessing infrastructure, innovative technologies, and partnerships for socio-economic development. As an academic, I usually like to understand the keywords in the topic, and I try to look out for this word we use every day, infrastructure. Sometimes this word is even very heavy, difficult to pronounce, but this word is heavily loaded with content. So what is infrastructure? And I came to understand that infrastructure is just the physical facilities and systems that support the proper functioning of a community, society, country, organization, or any kind of structural arrangement that needs to function. So if we are in academia, we have some specific infrastructure that should enable us to function as an academic institution and to deliver on our mandate. For instance, our mandate is training, research, and community engagement. So our infrastructure should help us do that. Like we have had the case of National Water and Sewerage Corporation. Their mandate is to deliver water to the end users. So their infrastructure should enable you deliver water. And of course, we have also heard that the water is delivered at a cost. So the infrastructure should enable them also to share communication with the users. They send us the bill, they come and read our meters, and then we should also pay for water. Now, again, within our discussion, we are talking about innovative technologies. But what is innovation? What is innovation and what's the role of innovation? I understand innovation to be doing something a different way, but for improvement. So innovation enables us to improve on productivity, effectiveness in what we do. And also the element of innovation has the aspect of doing good for society, doing good for people. You don't bring an innovation that will kill people, that will harm people. And innovation also has an aspect of reducing negative impacts of technology. So today we're talking about sustainability. In whatever we do, we use resources. So in using those resources, are we using them sustainably? Can we use the natural resources in a way that they can be regenerated so that we have continuity of life? So when we talk about these aspects, we want to be comfortable. We want to live life in a way that we are comfortable, we are happy. So there is that social aspect of it. And when we talk of economics, we have the socio-economic development. So for me, I understand that STEAM is actually a driver of all these issues. So when you come to academia, when we emphasize science, technology, engineering, agriculture, mathematics, and of course, when we talk of STEAM, the A is also art. We have seen that the the people who welcomed us in here were giving us some bit of art, and it was really beautiful. If you came later, you missed that part, but I think they are coming back. They made our nerves feel so nice. So you realize that even when we talk about technologies, I think the best thing that happened to us during the lockdown was this kind of artistic things, the music we listened to. Otherwise, it was really terrible when we were in that confinement. And the communication, when we were in our homes, we were able to communicate to people far away. And this was all through innovative technologies. I have ever lived somewhere where telephoning was very expensive at that time. There was no WhatsApp, there was no, it was only text messaging, which you do not even get an instant reply. Now, you are in your area. It was a home, but I was alone. A home, I think, is made of many other people. So my moderator is emphasizing the A for agriculture, but moderator, I said agriculture. I was only bringing in the art as well, because we had musicians here making us happy. So the A in STEAM is agriculture. Yeah. It was only my modification to make my people who make us happy also happy. To talk of art. Yeah. So in academia here, we do so much. We train, like National Water has indicated they need skills. So for instance, Kyambogo University, we are doing skills training. Okay? Our motto is knowledge and skills for service. I believe that even when we have skills, we need to have knowledge. So Kyambogo gives both knowledge and skills for service. We have seen some people emphasize the skills alone, and they make things that don't function well. So we need knowledge and skills for service. And we do research. You know, today the developments in technology are coming through research and development. So we have so many new technologies, innovative technologies that are enabling us to do things easily. Last week, I had a case where a school was demanding me 50,000 shillings to complete the school fees. They sent a circular with a school fees less by 50,000 than what I found when I took the child to school. Now, I told the bursar then, put that 50,000 in the next term's school fees. I was shocked. They sent me a message. They kept sending me a message, clear school balance. And I forgot about the 50,000. As messages kept coming, they became specific. They said 50,000 balance, clear it. I said, this is getting serious. And it came with a warning that otherwise the child will be sent home. So I said, now, look at the transport from school to home and back. It will be more than 50,000. Now, I used technology. I used my phone. I got this thing, is it school pay? And I cleared the 50,000 and the messages stopped coming. So we need innovation. That is an aspect of innovation. But I've also learned that innovation seems to have an aspect of social, cultural behavior. For instance, I think the Airtel money, MTN money, mobile money, M-Pesa thrives better in a community like Africa than in the West. Why? We are good at sharing some small money. Give me some 50K, give me some 100K, I sort this. In Europe, you hardly get people sharing this money like this. Because it's like, you work for your own, I work for my own. So such a technology works well here. So we must be able to identify issues that relate to our social needs and innovate around that. That's when the innovation becomes very relevant to a community. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Moderator, over to you.
Thank you. Let's clap. Academia. This is a very wonderful panel. We are represented communications, water, academics, education. So we have heard from our insightful discussants, discuss a very beautiful information in each area. Ladies and gentlemen and learners, I open the floor for questions, but time is not our great ally. I can see the organizers getting a bit jittery with me, but this topic is quite interesting. And I thought if it was given like 2 hours, we would enjoy and benefit more, but time is not our great ally. I invite a few questions. Each panelist will just receive 2 questions, please. Yes. Yes.
Good morning. I hope it's morning still.
Yes.
Yeah. My name is Okonzi John. I'm the director of ICT Kyambogo University. Thank you very much. And this is a very interesting topic, demystifying science, technology, and innovations in the community. I will go straight away to my questions or comments. I will start with the gentleman. Sorry, I didn't pick your name, but I came a bit late.
Engineer Muhammad Lutaya, he was
Yes.
the keynote speaker.
Yes, engineer. I just want to commend you for your initiatives of developing innovations in-house. And I think that is a model which Kyambogo University, we have also been doing over time. Most of our systems are built in-house. And I think we, as Ugandans, and all those who are coming, whether in secondary, primary, and so on, up to higher education, we need to take the model to begin to do things for ourselves. Systems that help us to improve our efficiency can be done. That's why we train engineers. That's why we train ICT experts. And we can be able to do this in order to avoid being technology slaves. We can do this. So these things are not very difficult. We can be able to do them. The second one, I was just commending you for those efforts because those are similar things we do. But what may be, as you say, we actually, in Kyambogo's case, to be specific, we've built enterprise systems which have been adopted in higher education. And as I speak right now, we have also created an enterprise system which is called EGP, e-procurement system, the foundation from Kyambogo, and is being used by all government entities. So we can partner with you to be able to create systems if, as part of the collaborations you talked about. And to my friend from UCC, you're doing very great, and we appreciate. But I wanted one question to you. There's been a lot of misinformation about 5G and new technologies. Yes? Yes. We have a lot of misinformation that is going. And I liked what you talked about, the trust. Today, most of our communications are actually, particularly in the academia and in many other places, we're using technology to communicate. But it comes with a lot of issues with trust, security, as you mentioned. How far is UCC going to sorting out that problem of misinformation? The number two, also I recall way back in 2000, between 2010 to 12, we migrated from the analog to the digital system of TV and radio communications. At the end of it all, we were left with the infrastructure that used to carry out the analog, which we call the white space broadcasting. Now, this infrastructure, or the channel, which we used to use for communicating TVs and radios via the analog system, is still, I don't know whether you are making use of it, there's what we call white space broadcasting. And that space which was left, all the channels that were left, can be used for doing other services. For example, for internet transmission. It can be used for health application and many other things. How is UCC dealing with that? Are you, in many other countries, for example, in South Africa, they're making use of that channel, free channel, in one up, down, one up, down. So because we are able to transmit using the analog waves, it will reach anywhere and anytime. So how are we making use of that free channel? Can we be able to collaborate and also make use of that white space broadcasting from UCC? The Department of Electrical Engineering, they are here. They can be able to partner with you and make use of that resource. Then lastly, I think to my dean, I'm very happy that you are able to pay your child and get notifications. And I want to let you know that actually that integration with the making fees payments with mobile pay and so on, it was first started here in Kyambogo, way back in 2012, when we integrated with Airtel. When we did it first, because of the challenges of what he's talking about, what you are trying to address with the fraud, overpayments and so on, the university stopped us, said, no, you cannot go mobile money. Because by that time, there was a lot of fraud. You send your money, it doesn't reach, or there are some people who became experts. So there's also the element of the fraud. Because technology makes things easy, but the challenge we have is if we cannot be able to address those kind of challenges. So as he says, there's a need for digital literacy. Everybody needs to be aware. Otherwise, if we don't really create the digital literacy, then the problems come when people will be cheated and so on. Then the innovations have gone very far. The last one, we are talking about infrastructure. The new innovations. How many of you people know how to use the Safe Border? All of you saw Safe Border, right? Safe Border works on the principle of Internet of Things.
Thank you so much. Dr. Sengindu, do you have some comment to make? Just in 1 minute.
Yes, thank you, moderator. I had 2 questions. I request 2 minutes. Anyway, I'll try to use a minute. One, on the issue of the 5G, of course, there are a lot of myths about technology. And actually what the UCC has done is to set up a test bed facility We have a test bed facility at the Uganda Institute of Communication Technology, where we assess the feasibility of use of certain new technologies. And this facility will be open to all key stakeholders, the academia, the students, and specifically for 5G, we are in the process of awarding a contract to a company to set up 5G equipment at this facility so that we assess the feasibility of the use of this technology in Uganda. Secondly, related to security, we have a fact checker. There is a code, I don't have it offered, but I can share it soon, that you can use to check whether information is accurate or not, or has the basis for its accuracy. And also we have what we call a computer emergency response team unit at the UCC that deals with cases related to fraud and crime in collaboration with the security organs of this country. Now, on the issue of the white spaces, I'd like to make it categorically clear that the UCC regulatory regime is based on the principle of technology neutrality. You can deploy any technology in any frequency band to provide voice, data, or video services for as long as you're not causing harmful interference to any of your close neighbors or other users. So in issues, but more specifically, if you're referring to the 700 megahertz band, there's been a development of regulatory frameworks and tools towards the introduction of the use of different services in the 700 megahertz band. But categorically, we have a technology neutral regime. But also as an opportunity for the university, under the division of the research and service development, we have put out a call, and we continue to put out calls for advisories on different technologies. So we have
society. I would like to also highlight that in the presentation from the managing director from National Water and Sewerage Corporation, he said they make about 30% losses in the water they produce. And we all see this. We see pipe bursts, among other forms of water losses they incur. And then our thinking, the role of innovation is to make an organization competitive. Now, if National Water and Sewerage Corporation had a serious competitor, the way Airtel is on the neck of MTN, I think 30% loss could become a very significant issue. But then again, we are here training, our role as Kyambogo University, we are training the human resources that should be able to address these challenges in the workplace. So that's where we find a common ground, a partnership. Many times we tend to blame each other, but I mean, we must work together, because when National Water and Sewerage Corporation wants an engineer who can actually manage their systems that they don't incur high losses, they need to partner with Kyambogo University to ensure that we have that kind of engineer developed. Thank you.
I know we have very many burning questions, but I just want one burning question to close up, if there is any. Okay, just one. Keep it short, half a minute.
Thank you very much for inviting us, and I greet you all in the name of the Lord. My question is addressed to the whole.
Engineer Lutaya, you'll answer the first one, and then Dr. Sengindo will answer the second one. I apportion it like that purposely.
Okay, thank you. I think they were very good questions. The first one, if you have an innovation, how do you make sure it reaches, how you support it? As National Water, we've tried to create, I think, what we refer to as school and sanitation clubs. And through that, one of the areas we're focusing on is innovation. We're trying to encourage the schools to come up with innovations that are supposed to impact society, but also, in a way, help us deal with some of the challenges. We've had a number of schools participate. I think the school is a member of the sanitation clubs, even Kyambogo, I think, the college. So this is from primary to secondary, and we have these events more or less annually, and we try to promote competition among schools on the side innovation and technology. And we've got very interesting innovations that are coming through schools. Now what we're trying to do as an organization, see how we can upscale and support the development of such technologies. So Nashota has provided a platform where we can tap solutions or ideas that are coming through, especially the schools, and see how we can further develop them. But also, I think at a bigger scale, if I've talked about the hackathons and the boot camps we're trying to come up with, and we're trying to open them up, especially to the universities. We believe most of the ideas are there, the people who have brilliant minds are there, and we're trying to tap into those minds and create some bit of competition where new solutions, new ideas, once developed, we can support them and also somehow finance them. So this is where the direction we're taking as an organization, and I'm sure you've said, Stanchart has what they call the Fly Hub, you know, they're doing a bit the same. So different institutions are trying to tap into the minds and the opportunities that are within the academia to see how they can deal with some of the solutions. And I think we're going to continue encouraging this.
Thank you so much, Engineer.
Moderator, I could add something there.
Okay, half a minute.
To that question, yes. Now, academia actually is an environment that is fertile for generation of innovations. One, because academia has the young minds, and the young minds have the characteristic of being active, ready to think, and desiring certain things to happen in some way. So it's a good environment for innovation. And many organizations that would be funding innovations would be targeting educational institutions. But an innovation to be an innovation, just like when we talk of patenting, because we really patent things that have value. There's something new, inventive. It must have something unique and tangible. Now, I tend to think innovations are like steam. If you cover a vessel that is boiling and collects the steam, that steam will come out and you will know that something is boiling. So if you have an innovative mind and you develop something innovative, it will attract attention. So never give up. Now, nationally, organizations are nurturing innovations, but we also have the Science, Technology, and Innovations Secretariat under the Office of the President. It was formerly the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovations. Occasionally, they bring out calls. In May, there was a call for innovations. And I think that even students from high school were among those who applied. And individuals, even if you're not in high school, you're an individual in Ugandan society, you can apply. But of course, we have talked about fraud. There has to be a way you are organized. There has to be a way you're identified, okay? You're a registered company, you are in a registered school, you are at a university. There has to be a way you are domiciled somewhere, not just an individual who will tell people stories and go. And you must have something tangible, because there are people who move around saying, me, I have an innovation, but it is all in their mind only. Transform it from your mind into something that people can identify with, and you will find funding for such an innovation. As steam, when steam escapes from a vessel, you will notice. If you don't notice it, it might hurt you. Thank you.
So, time is not my greatest friend, so I'm going to be so mean, Dr. Sengindo. Half a minute, please.
Thank you. Very quickly, for the young man there, we have the research support and collaboration framework. Please get in touch with UCC. There's a good opportunity for you that also caters for students. That's number one. Two, in terms of safety of whether crypto or bit technology is consistent for a specific technology, if I want to. The parameters, but what differentiates is the source of that information. Because there are a lot of businessmen with business objectives and their businesses to fraud people. So, but there's also a fact checker. You can get in touch with the UCC for verification of whether that source of information is accurate or not. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, learners, time has not been our friend. At this juncture, I will request each of the speakers to give us a closing remark, just a half a minute. Let's keep time. The organizers are not smiling with me. So half a minute, starting from Dr. Catherine. Half a minute, please, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Now, this morning we have been discussing in line with the topic, harnessing infrastructure innovative technologies, and partnerships for socio-economic development. Socio-economic development is an aspiration of every Ugandan, because we are categorized as a nation under the developing countries. One Indian one time asked me that, when do we progress? We are always developing countries. But I think there are parameters for categorization of countries as developing, middle income, and so forth, and developed. And I think that in yesterday's budget, we saw how the cake has been distributed, and academia has a significant part, education. So there is a big role of education in socio-economic development, because the greatest resource that we have are the human resources. We can see that there are some countries that are deserts, and yet they have the best. Israel, it has the best everything. I think even they got their own COVID vaccine before, when we're still doing this and that, okay? But if you look at the natural resources in the country, they are minimum compared to us. I think also these natural resources makes us relax. Uganda is a country where you can eat without thinking too much. There are countries where if you don't think too much, you will not eat. So we are looking at how to harness infrastructure. There are places where there is infrastructure that is underutilized. Then you begin to ask, why was it developed? The human resources are important in utilizing the infrastructure for socio-economic development. So we must put ourselves in this equation of infrastructure, innovation, partnerships for socio-economic development. You and I must fix ourselves in there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dean. Dr. Sengendo, I come to you, half a minute.
Okay.
Eyes are not good with me for time.
Thank you very much. Like we've recognized today, and to retaliate, ICT remains a basic need for all of us. ICT is an enabler for community development. There are opportunities and there are challenges, but all this can be ably addressed and opportunities utilized if we work together. There is a role for the academia, for the regulator, for the MDAs, and for the civil society. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Engineer Lutaya, the keynote speaker, please give us your closing remarks.
Organizers for the opportunity. The takeaway, I think, in this discussion, there are two things. One, it's very possible. We need to deal with the mindset. I think we need to believe in ourselves that we can do amazing things. The challenge we have is always to believe that things that come from outside are better than what we can develop ourselves. So the day we believe that everything starts with baby steps and we can always perfect what we start with, is the day I think they talked about being technology slaves, the day we get away from being slaves and always believe innovations have to come from the mass. We have the capacity, we have the people, we have the knowledge, we have the skills. Whatever we don't have, we can develop and make sure that most of the things can come from within us. And then lastly is the aspect of collaboration. We're trying to get close to academia, and we want also academia come close to industry. That's where the problems are, and like the dean has said, you have the minds that can provide the solution. So we need to come closer to each other and not to be far away from each other. And there would come up with solutions that can impact on the socio-economic development of our country. Thank you.
Oh, round of applause to our panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, the lady and the gentleman have given us very deep insights into science, demystifying science, technology and innovations for community development. The only challenge we had was time has not been our great ally. But as an engineer, I love feedback. Feedback now is that the next
Thank you so very much. Today I'm an engineer by induction. If you sat here and you have not become an engineer, you're in trouble. Please kindly stay there because not the pressmen. Where are these guys? They want to take pictures. They say they want to take an engineering photograph. So if you are not an engineer, you don't sit there or you don't stand there, but I can't stand there anyway because I am an engineer by induction. Fantastic. So please maybe move around there. And so that you, where exactly do you want them to stand? Oh, but these people are very serious. They say you stand. Oh my God. As they take the picture, I want to take this opportunity to let everybody else know that are going to give us short talks, really short. And I want to invite those students to come and sit right behind here. So if you know you are going to give a talk right now, please walk here. The students, they know themselves. Please come and sit here so that you're near to begin giving us the talk. After that, we shall be listening to a very serious talk from the National Curriculum Development Center talking about the new curriculum. You guys of NGO, you are not going to be part of the new curriculum. I hope the National Council Curriculum people, please correct me. These guys of NGO, these are now senior what? 6? Senior 1. Oh, yeah, you are part of the curriculum. You know, in NGO, you part senior 1, senior 2, are you there? So senior 5 and 6. You have brought only young men, really. Very good. The others are new curriculum stuff. So benefit to all of you, all of us. We all need that. And soon after that, we shall listen to the opening remarks from the Vice Chancellor. I will be coming in very, very soon because he had an engagement in the morning. And after that, we have a small show about space science. You never know what may happen. Tomorrow you might be in space. And thereafter, we shall have a small lunch break. After lunch, all of us will be visiting the stall. There are lots of stuff right from here down the other side. Many exhibitions around there. Just in case you need to visit the other very important office, right? You know that office where you want to ease yourself and things do not have to give you any inconvenience at all. Just walk either through the upper side there or through here, and then just turn your left. You'll see the places there. On the left is for men, and on the right it's for ladies. So don't mix there. Just before you begin, where is the tropical? Steam yourself up. Come on. Don't be bored. We're on the steam.
Technology, innovation. This team here also knows that we need technology. In the presentation they are going to show us now, I'll just give us a brief narrative so that we know how it fits in, because not all of us know this language. You will listen. Those of us who may understand, maybe like David there in that corner, and the Professor Bua maybe who has left, they would tell us the story. But let me share with you the story. In this story, there is a mother or a wife who wants to eat fish, and they are in Gulu. And the husband is telling her, you know, in Gulu we don't have lakes. Where do you want me to get fish? And saying, whatever you do or do not do, make sure before you come, you buy fish for me. And so they are calling upon us, who are the technology developers, that even for places that may not have lakes like Gulu, we need to innovate around and make sure they can have fish whenever they need it. Otherwise, some families will break down because there is no fish. Over to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Yeah, we want these members to give us the art in the air so that when we begin to run the next program, they may not, we want a real speed thereafter. Just one more would do.
Yeah. Konye neronya mepoaya.
Kunyu weri maido. Kunyu weri maido. Kunyu weri maido. Akasamunyiga kako. Teta katwara mafuni. Ebimba kabimazireho. Katumariro buchori. Katumarire bimba. Katumarire kasafa. Katumarire muhogo. Kunyu weri maido. Bantu mwe weri maido tukolechi. Akanta ko tukolechi. Abasayansa murinkayi. Kunyu weri maido. Kurire kali na Buganda. Kurire kali na Teso. Kurire kali Bunyoro. Kurire kali na Guru. Abachori kuru weri maido. Kunyu wele maido. Kunyu wele maido. Ayira balo pulado. Ayira balo pulado. Dorin bin mawot kwede. Kada bin machet kiri. Ayira balo banana. Ayira balo banana. Jovia bin machet kede. Alimo bin machet kede. Alimi bin wamel kedi. Ayira balo pulado. Ayira balo pulado. Alimo bin wamel kedi. Odira bin wachet kede. Ayira balo pulado. Ayira balo pulado. Jovia bin wamel kede. Jamesi bin wabel kiri. Meda bin wamel kede.
Thank you. Ekunyuku wele maido. Wele maido. Very well. We are so grateful you could come and teach us yet another vocabulary of everything. People are picking up stuff. So I'm hoping everybody is at STEAM. And we want to steam up everything. And so now that I don't see the students here to do their presentations, we shall go straight to NCDC. So we'll want to invite the presenter from NCDC to talk to us as we wait for these students who are going to come. And after all, they are adjudicators. I'm not sure where they've gone, but they should be coming anytime. So NCDC, some 20 minutes talk or so to let us know something about the new curriculum. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, members. Yeah, I'm here to take you through what we are doing at NCDC as far as the new curriculum is concerned. My name is Moses Tuhame, a curriculum specialist. DJ, please, the slides. Yeah, as you are aware, the new curriculum is on, and it started way back in 2020, just before COVID interrupted us. So as we talk now, we have the new curriculum running in 2 classes, senior 1 and senior 2. I've been informed that we have senior 1s and senior 2s here, possibly today or tomorrow. We shall be having demonstrations with them so that you get a feel of what happens in the classroom. Yeah, so as we talk now, so as we design the new curriculum, there are a number of challenges which most of you are aware of, and some of them have been highlighted there. So we tried to factor in all this as we packaged our new curriculum. Now the interesting one, you will need to take note of the statistics, where we have 1.8 million pupils enrolling in P1, and by the time they do P7, the number has gone to only 300. By the time they go to S4, we have only 268,000, and senior 6, you just have 100,000 out of the 1.8 which enrolled. So the big question is, where do they go? That kind of dropout is big, but again, someone would say maybe they channeled into other areas, technical and other institutions. However, when you look at that drop from P1 to P7, it's alarming. So one would wonder whether they would have channeled too. So in our plans, all these have to be planned for. The new secondary curriculum has a philosophy. We may not have had this before. Most times we do things but are not governed by philosophies. So we are looking at a holistic education for personal and national development. Now in this, we need to get to a point where you look at someone and say this person went to school or this person didn't. But at the moment, in the old curriculum, you find a graduate and you may not tell whether this person is a graduate or not. So we need to see all that change. Now our end of S4, I'm talking about the new curriculum which is running from S1 to S4. The learner profile, we are looking at these learners who can identify problems and then solve them by making decisions. Now the question is, how do we get to that? Yeah, so those are some of the things we look at to tell that really this person went through our school system. People who can be innovative, people who can think, people who have self-esteem. Yeah, that student who raised the concern about Bitcoin, I like the way you put it and the confidence you had. Are you all S1s and S2s? Yeah, I think you can have a feel of what these people will be like. They can talk, they can think. Yeah, so some of the key issues we worked on was to reduce the subject menu from 42 to 21. We've had so many subjects: accounts, entrepreneurship, bookkeeping, commerce, and others. So all those were condensed to make 21 subjects. And out of the 21, a student is supposed to do only 12 subjects. In the past, we used to have S1s doing up to 18 subjects, which was kind of an overload. We did that. We spent money on teachers, but it didn't help us. And as we talk, unemployment is high, crime, and all that stuff. Then in the competence-based curriculum, we are putting forward, we are looking at 5 key areas, which we have shortened and we call them KUSVA. We have knowledge, we have understanding, skills, values, and attitudes. All this put together, you know, but do you understand? We need to put it to that level. Now, I pose a very simple question. I've posed this so many times. For all of us where you're seated, can you point to the east? Point to the east. Your hand up, point to the east. And look at your colleagues. You are not in the same direction, so of course, some of you are okay, others are not okay. Others, I think, to avoid the embarrassment, they have preferred to abstain from the vote. A second question. The sun rises from dash, fill the space. The sun rises from? You know, but you don't understand. You studied about it, you know. Possibly got a D1 or an A, or you did a bachelor's, or you are a professor of geography, but you can't do that simple thing because the curriculum that brought you up didn't focus on that. So it is not your problem. It is the problem of the system. But we are saying that in the new curriculum, all that should be history. We have to put everything together. Now, the genetic skills are key. We've made a package of that. The screen is not clear, but here we are looking at developing the critical thinking, problem solving, teamwork, and all that as they learn. Later on, we shall see the arrangement of the classroom and how that is supposed to happen. Yeah, now here we are talking of STEM, demystifying science. I believe most of the people here are scientists, professors of mathematics, you're here. Maybe by the end of the workshop, Friday, we should understand maybe how we can demystify pi r squared. How can you demystify that? So for us, we are saying that for the lower levels and of course upper levels, let's use the positivism theory, which talks about learners constructing their knowledge. Your job, the teacher, is to facilitate. And to do that, you need to ensure that they are learning from what they know towards what they don't know. So what you see there, I did physics and math at some point, but we used to concentrate on the right part, the right-hand side. A teacher comes, drawings are made, then they're asking you whether you have understood or not. Of course, the answer is yes, whether you have understood or not. But we are not taught that the idea comes from when you look at a tank and it is raised. It starts from there. Why is it? So we are never taught that. The second drawing, I know you could be familiar with that. The first image, a local brew. Our kids do that. At 8 years, they do that. And all that is chemistry. But at the end of S4, when they are 16 years, the assessors, good thing your name is here, you assess their chemistry and you declare that they have F9. But they could do the chemistry when they were 8 years old. Where is the problem? So we've tried to work on all that within the new curriculum. It may not be at 100%, but we are moving towards that. I believe you are familiar with that drawing. Yeah, most of us, you know, we know this. But what science is behind that? We are demystifying the science. Start from there, we know. Someone will tell you, you know, when the gases expand as temperature increases, but you can't see that. That's now when we go digital and we use simulations. Now, there are many, many websites and spaces where we have some of these simulations, and most of them are open source. Khan Academy is one of them. Fate Simulations is one of them. So we go ahead and try to simulate, maybe we shall do this tomorrow, where the learners interact with the technology to see how the expansion leads to bursting of the tire. So with that, we've teamed up with a number of stakeholders, and one of them is sensor systems. We have NSSF has come on board, MTN, UNICEF are all with us, trying to develop digital content, and this digital content has been put on tablets, which are being piloted in a number of schools. Of course, the usual challenge of cost and affordability. They always come. Our job is to know where to put money. We cannot say they are very cheap. No, they are not. But then we need support of all stakeholders around. That tablet you see there costs about 650,000. And when you look at our Uganda, our parents, our economy, that may not be easily afforded by most of us. But that cost includes tax. So if we remove the tax, what would happen? Like NSSF, has pledged to buy 2 million tablets to give to a number of upcountry schools with preloaded science simulations. So our job as NCDC is to initiate, to start, and then the stakeholders will get on board and support us. Yeah, so in our house there, just a few meters from this campus, we have embarked also on developing digital content. All this again is to demystify science. We try to do this through teachers and the lecturers of universities. Kyambogo University has been a part of us as a way of simplifying this. Of course, UCC spoke here, the issue of affordability. Some of these need internet for transmission, and the challenge is how do we manage the cost? Yeah, then, as part of the asset integration in our operations, beginning of this year, you are aware we had what we call the abridged curriculum, where we compressed everything for those classes which were affected by COVID. Now, we had a job of reaching to about 6,000 schools across the country within 1 week. That task was too complex for us, and technology had to be used. So we had Zoom interfaces with various stakeholders, and the different officers would get on board to give support. As that was happening, we also had the ground troops moving to various schools, and all this was put together to ensure that we beat the time, at the same time working around the cost implications. Yeah, then we have materials which are supporting the new curriculum. As we talk now, most of the schools, about 90%, have received books for the publishers, from the publishers who competed and won tenders to supply materials for the new curriculum. So all these materials are there. Then within our building, we also have a science technology equipment production unit. The pendulum bulbs, all that science lab stuff, we make them. We have a unit which is also giving support to various schools. Then at times we need to get views from stakeholders on how best we can implement this. As you all know, the competence-based curriculum, we know it, but the how to do it is a big challenge. So we keep getting feedback from stakeholders. We've put up online forms where people keep posting. Analysis is made instant. Our job is to pick it and see how to improve our product. Yeah, all that is technology supporting the education for our case. National Water, they also have their issues. Now, the school day timetable, in the new curriculum, we've changed from this business of from 7 a.m. to maybe midnight, where these learners are seated the way you're seated, looking at this great teacher, pouring matter out there. We've done that. We've taught them, but they have not learned. We talk, they don't learn. So the timetable is structured in such a way that from 8 up to 2:55, they are in class, they are doing their group works, we shall see the class arrangement. Then from 3 up to 5, that is time for projects, debates, co-curricular activities, and many others. They get out. They have to move out, they dress up appropriately, and do that as they apply all that was studied. However, we still have a challenge. Some stakeholders, some schools still feel, no, these fellows must sit and we must give them. So we have that battle with stakeholders to try to work around that, to tell everyone that learning is not about the hours you sit. As we talk now, we have our officers in the northern region giving teacher support and school support, going to individual schools to see what is happening there, and then guiding accordingly. We shall do that for the whole country. Then as we get to assessment, when we talk of assessment, people talk of exams and that high-stakes stuff. But as we get there, we need also to understand that all of us here are not the same. We learn differently and the different styles. Some people want sports, others want the science, others want the arts, and so on. So as you assess them, as you grade them, as you compare them, is that fair? You need to ask that question. That's why somewhere we shall see the report card and people still want positions on the report cards. I play football, you play guitar. Now we position the two. Who is better than the other? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, so we have these issues. Report card is one of them. You heard about the noise, but of course, at NCDC we are not worried, and would be disturbed if that noise was not there. So it is part of the process. Our job is to ensure that the stakeholders understand this. Then at times when we go deep in details of assessment, we talk of norm referenced versus criterion referenced assessment. For the new curriculum, we are going criterion referenced. Assess me, look at me, tell me what I am. Don't look at my neighbor's child and then you compare. That is norm referenced. We are going out of that. Then we've had a lot of tests, beginning of term, mid-term, you know them. Pre-bishop visit exam. Yeah, so all that is out, but parents feel we need them. NCDC is saying you don't need them. So we are there. Then project-based learning and many others. The report card, possibly tomorrow we shall have the details about that. But that's it, you know, the kindergarten report card, we are moving towards that, but you still want marks. And then we talk of school-based assessment, contributing 20% to the end of cycle. In the current way of assessment, you have this child going to end of cycle examination, sit for like 1.5 hours, you decide or you assess what this learner is within that time. We are saying no, school-based will have a contribution. End of cycle also have a contribution. And how this will go, I think I've seen via social media, Minister of Education has written to schools that all learners of S1 and 2 have to be registered and get a learner identification number. It is through that number that the school-based assessment results will be moved through to the assessment body UNEB for further processing. So the systems are being built. And then we have assessment with DIT, Directorate of Industrial Training, whereby they have these assessment packages. A learner may not have to wait for S4. Senior 3, you have a skill like music, performing arts, you are assessed, you are certified, you go and start making money. The issue of money must come early, not too late, and you may not even understand the money you're talking about. Yeah, so the progress we've made so far, new curriculum is at S1 and S2, we've talked about that. Material adaptation for special needs. We've developed materials, the textbooks, but we need to go ahead and adapt them for that category of learners. Stakeholder orientations, that won't end soon. Teacher training is on, end of cycle assessment modalities. We are working with our sister institution UNEB to work on how this end of cycle assessment will look like. And then A-level curriculum review has already started. These learners may not fit in the current A-level structure. Yeah, so the learning environment, that's how the classroom will look like. This kind of sitting, church style, no. They have to be in groups around tables. That's when the discussions come, the communications develop, so that we don't train people like the MPs you saw fighting in the parliament. The fights should be in class. Then, by the time they go there, they do serious stuff. Yeah, so this is information to you. NCDC will be celebrating 50 years next year, around March. This event was launched yesterday. So we shall be running a number of adverts here and there. Please be part of us. I think that is Minister of State for Higher Education was part of the event. Executive Secretary UNEB was there, and then our director. So a number of stakeholders, including you, please. I think one of the people on the extreme right is a professor here. Yeah, you might be familiar with him, and I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so very much for that quick. We are expecting more tomorrow of this. So please, you have a lot more tomorrow. And is there any quick one burning issue? Very quick one. Okay, so do I have some? I think I'm going to give the students the quick one. So there are two students there. Please ask the two seated next. The rest, please, if you are near there, you can write your question to that student because we want to quickly manage our time well. We are running out of time. Please go straight to the topic, or rather to the question, and then you hand the mic to the next behind you. Thank you.
Okay, so I was inquiring about the DIT. So we were told that in this new curriculum, a student is supposed to get a skill by the end of Senior 3. And that is the DIT, Directorate of Industrial Training, will come and assess you after you finish Senior 3. But I don't know whether it's still in the planning phase, but up to date, schools haven't received the trainers who would come to train people the skills. I don't know what the Ministry of Education, in collaboration with NCDC, is planning about that.
So my question is about the subjects that we do. I'm wondering, why do we study physical education? Is it for the development of the sports industry of the country? Why do we study it?
Thank you. Are there some ladies students now? That one is good. Okay, quick one.
Straight to the point. You had suggested that the new curriculum is going to remove that element of meritocracy, that is meriting the best students or ranking them. Don't you think that will have some socio-economic impact on the new generation that will be going through this curriculum? Because even outside the industries, they are ranked best CEO, best salesperson, best sales executive. So I think that element of ranking should remain.
Thank you. I see one more student. Did you have one? Very quick one.
So my question is, you told us that NCDC has produced books, the NCDC prototypes, and most of our schools have received them. And I've also seen books like the teacher guides. But some of, like, the teacher can give you an activity of integration. And sometimes, because as the students, we think according to what we have understood, that's how the teacher will award you. But there are times, let's say there's a sample activity of integration in the textbooks, and according to the teacher guides, they give her maybe a specific answer, like specific answers you should expect from the students. And for us as students, we all have different ways on how we see the question, and at times you might find the whole class has different things. And that is why the teachers will keep on telling us the excellency mark is not easy to get and all that. But my query is, since it is like an everyone's curriculum, why is it that in the teacher's guides they give them specific answers, maybe to try and award excellency marks? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I can respond to that. I'll start with the excellence mark. Yeah, the prototypes and textbooks were given. And when you talk about the teacher's guide, as the name states, it's a guide. And we say expected responses. We give a scope. If a learner says ABC, but in the case another one comes, should be within these parameters. It is very clear. Secondly, your teachers are professional teachers who are trained. So they will interpret the books. That shouldn't worry you. do your job. The excellence mark, yeah, extraordinary. You have to be up there. But you are there already because I had your submissions. Then the ranking, someone put it very right. I agree with you that you're ranking CEOs and companies to know which company performed well. Now, you're giving beginning of term exam. You're ranking them to get what? A term has ended, you're ranking them. Then secondly, the subjects are different. But again, you put them together and rank them. For us, we are saying at that level, it is not necessary. Talk about me and what I've achieved within a given period. When you want to give scholarships and other things, you use the data to do whatever you want with it. Then DIT, trainers coming to you to start. The way we made our curriculum, we call it dovetailing. We worked with the DIT. You don't need extra training for DIT. The syllabus you go through is enough with projects and whatever to supplement on that to make you ready for DIT. It is not a separate training you have to go through. Then physical education. We are doing this for personal development, you know, non-communicable diseases. When you look at the statistics, diabetes and others, it's too much because we don't exercise. And we felt if it was left optional, people may not have gone for it. So it is there for your personal health, and those who specialize in it, they become professional coaches and others. It's a good deal for the country, we believe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you are free to take your seat, but we shall be more than happy to see you tomorrow because you still have so much to let us know. Just because of the time now, we shall shift the program a little bit. We have just witnessed the arrival of our CEO, and I'm not going to talk anymore about the CEO, but to invite okay. Now, I think NCDC, please come back here, because the CEO has allowed you a little bit of more time. Please come back, NCD, because there are more questions for you. Because the VC says, please let the students ask more. And we don't want to cut short your interest in asking and getting to know. So, on that note then, we will allow a few more, largely students or whoever is around, participants. Please, the guy with the mic, maybe I might need two. There are quite a number this way. So please ask, and then we'll keep moving. Yeah, please give him we are all learners, we are all students in as far as this new curriculum is concerned. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Wichi, I want to recognize the presence of the Vice Chancellor. And thank you very much, NCDC. For me, mine is not a question, but rather to help supplement on answering the previous question on physical education. There was a student who asked, why do we study physical education? And I want to supplement on what was answered by saying that physical education is perhaps the most important subject in the curriculum. It develops not only the intellect, but the social aspect, the physical aspect, the psychological aspect, hence providing for the holistic development of the child. When you come from class, you go to the playground, you learn practical skills. The purpose of physical education is to prepare the child or the student for life by giving you the physical skills, the sports skills, name it, dramatic skills, whatever you need. Henceforth, when you leave school, you're able to go into any other part of profession with practical skills. In mathematics, you might learn a little bit of, not only develop the intellectual part, but in physical education, you learn to socialize. Some schools, you find people leave school and they can't interact with the opposite sex. But PE gives you that chance where you learn to interact and look at the female as a partner, not as something else. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have some few questions. My number one question is, how are you going to help the students in research, since the internet is required, but there are some schools which are not going to allow students to go with phones, and even some schools don't have the internet to help the students go on to Google. When you go with a phone, they chase you. They chase you and they can even give you an indefinite suspension. Yet, phones, especially the smart ones, are important in this new curriculum. How are you going to help them? Then how are you going to help the remote schools where there are no computers and network is a problem? My last question is, I'm a student of BVAD here at Kyambogo, and we are the forthcoming teachers of the new curriculum. But since I came, we've never had any lecture teaching us of the NCDC. How are you going to help us through that? Thank you.
Great. I am very passionate about the new lower secondary school curriculum. But as Kyambogo University, as an institution that produces the teachers who are supposed to implement that curriculum, I find myself in a dilemma, because here we implement a curriculum that is not exactly that. How are you planning for us to make sure that you don't keep going to schools to train the teachers, but actually you allow us, the teacher trainers, to know how to train them better? Thank you.
Yeah, there's a hand there, then I can respond.
So for me, I just wanted to supplement your answer that you gave for his question about why we have no ranking. I personally believe that the reason why we are not ranked is because if you don't rank someone, they'll wonder, which position am I? Am I the first? Am I the last? Am I in the middle? And that will push them to greater heights. It will make them want to be the best that they can be, because they'll always wonder, what is my position?
Yeah, thank you. Moderator, the questions are not ending.
So, moderator, thank you very much. I asked my question, it was in a bit of a rush, so I think the message got lost on the way of transmission. So, if at all you look at history, that many civilizations that grew out of the ranking or the strive to be the best. From the Cold War, the ranking between the USSR and America are the ones that led them to get greater powers, become the greater powers. The ones in Egypt here in Africa, it was the pharaoh that was ranking himself by the past. Pharaohs are the ones that made the Egyptian civilization better. And if at all you look at also psychologically as humans, the ranking is what drives us. If at all I don't know where I stand at a particular subject, I can't strive to be the best. The reason why I think the country is failing is because of accountability. And the accountability is because of ranking. If at all you look at the countries that have developed, that have the lowest corruption index, are the ones that are having the highest rankings, or the meritocracy of those countries are kind of strong, built within them. America, for instance, you go to England, for instance, the only thing that I would have to argue about that is finding the parameters to do the ranking, finding the parameters that suits the ranking. Albert Einstein said, if at all you rank everyone, if at all you rank a fish on the ability it can climb a tree, it's the last. So the thing is that when you go to fish, let us rank the fish best swimmers. If at all we go to the monkeys, let's look at the best climbers. If at all we are looking for baboons, let's look at those that can beat their chest, the strongest. That's what, then that element of having merits based on performance is what drives us, not only as individuals, but as an entire human race. And that was just my point. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll start with the issue of ranking. I agree with you that ranking is there and it is important. But the question is, when and where, then how do you do the ranking? Go to a classroom setting, a student has chosen a different set of subjects, another one has a different set. You first look for the average, then you say this is better than the other one. In some schools, you find the best, who is in position 1, has average of 56%, and the last has maybe 30%. Another school, the best has average 90, and the last has average 70, is the last. So our issue is on when to do the ranking. Now, if I go a bit deep in the structure of the curriculum, the report card has those grades 1, 2, and 3. A learner who has scored 3, let's say in the physical education, of course is above the one who has scored 1. The ranking is there per subject. But we are saying, don't compare me with my neighbor. Talk about me, that you're now at the top or that kind of stuff. The ranking will always be there, but not on the report card, end of term, and that stuff. Yeah, then, Kyambogo University, you're training people. You need to get well versed with what we are doing. I think last is going to us. They have the facilities. The stakeholders will start coming and putting money where it should be put. These learners learn. After these learners learn. After all, in their homes, the technology is now there. They have to learn with it. So that is being sorted. Then the issue of research. Someone talked about research. In education, I know professors are here. When we talk of research, most understand that research at the end of your degree. But if I send students out to look at the environment and come and make a presentation, that is research. So we have to demystify science, we have to demystify research in all that we are doing. At whichever level, research is there. But of course, we need to improve on that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Like I've said, you might keep taking your seat and coming back until tomorrow, until Friday, because that is a new, it is going to take root anew, independent. And you can be sure that after their judgment, I will be computing the coefficient of correlation. Once it is higher than 0.65, then we are happy. So 2 are going to be sitting where they are, separated by 2 serious ladies, sealed mouths. They are not talking at all. And I'm going to invite Dr. Bamturaki to go and sit at the extreme end where Dr. Kathy is seated, so that whatever the judgment happens, we can easily compute the correlation coefficient. And before the students, where are you? The ones going to do the talk. So we need all of you to be within. But right now, we shall certainly receive our dean, is the host dean. So you will need, I'm not big enough. At least I can invite him to invite our CEO to greet us. Thank you so much. My dean.
Thank you so much. I will actually bend that protocol a bit and also make a small correction approach so that the taxpayer can really see the value of paying us the salary. That the team that handled the first topic, really demystified it. If you allow me, sir, I pledged with Doctor's team that every time I come to stand here, this is a festival. So it's more of a celebration. We are here to steam everybody. So Savannah, I don't know where you are hiding. I think he will permit you to steam the VC. Are you ready? Ah, there she is. Johnson.
Just steamed. I may steam and then reach somewhere and get condensed and become molten. Steaming. We love steaming because steam is here for us. Steam, steam, steam. Science, technology, engineering, agriculture, mathematics. It's Kyambogo's festival. Demystifying science, technology, and innovation. Muje, 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 tuzine science. Muije. Binu. Kyambogo. From 15th to 17th of June. Miss only if you must.
There you go. This laughter is becoming my brand these days. So thank you so much, Dr. Steam. I don't want to repeat my speech. I gave remarks in the morning, but I've been requested to inform the VC who is here. VC, we invited the entire public, but particularly we have the participating schools, the faculties, and the Business Incubation Center. We have the student community, postgraduate and undergraduate, and I would like to acknowledge the director here for giving us that population of postgraduate students. We have in place pupils and students from primary and secondary schools. Namirango College is very, very visible. I visited that school on Sunday and I nearly pulled up a microphone to talk about STEAM. And madam there who came with the students, it was a full hall. I didn't get a chance. Then we have the alumni of Kyambogo University. We have partners, NCDC is already here. Our keynote was from National Water. They have left. And then the panel discussant was from UCC. Then we have current and potential employers of our graduates. Pepsi Cola gave us a lot of tents. We appreciate that as one of them. Then the entire public, sir. So I would like to take this opportunity to request Dean Catherine, who allowed me to call her Dean Kath, to come and invite the Vice Chancellor to preliminarily open the festival, awaiting the chief guest tomorrow to officially open it. Thank you so much. Sanitize.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Vice Chancellor of Kyambogo University, Professor you're welcome. You're welcome to the STEAM Festival. We started this activity this morning with the opening remarks and a panel discussion after the keynote address by a representative of the Executive Director of National Water and Sewerage Corporation. The discussion was interesting and it opened our minds to the role
of science, technology, engineering, agriculture, mathematics in national development, but specifically we're looking at harnessing infrastructure, innovative technologies, and partnerships for socio-economic development. We also heard about the growth in national water, and Sewerage Corporation, that they used to call themselves national, and yet they had been covering only 15 towns, but they have grown to 262 towns. And now even the districts that are far away from Kampala also recognize National Water and Sewerage Corporation. We heard about the initiatives of the Uganda Communications Commission in ensuring that the country is all digitally connected, with emphasis on digital literacy and its importance in socio-economic development. So the discussions have been reached this morning, and as the STEAM Festival continues into the afternoon and tomorrow and Friday, I believe that by Friday we shall really be empowered ourselves to be in this STEAM environment and be comfortable. Usually when we talk of STEAM, we feel like it's burning, but I think it will be burning in a comforting way. The students of Namilyango College, you're welcome, and thank you so much for your active participation. When you ask those questions, it shows that you are listening and not just hearing. Because when you listen, you process what you have heard, and you try to put into perspective its implication on your own life. So, Vice Chancellor, sir, we are happy to have you here with us this afternoon. And I would like to warmly welcome you to address the people here who have come to discuss science, technology, engineering, agriculture, and mathematics. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Dean Catherine. The deans who are here, and the dean who is leading this festival arrangements, the heads of departments, members of staff of Kyambogo University, the students. I recognize the students from Namilyango and maybe other schools, the members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you, deans, who formed this group, for thinking about this festival. I remember when the concept was mooted, I strongly supported it. Let's go and talk to people about demystifying science. So I'm glad that you went ahead and arranged this, and it has come to the start. I'm also glad that when we contacted the president to be the guest, he accepted. But I think due to the heavy schedule of work he has, he may send us the vice president. We are waiting for final confirmation. Now, when you talk about demystifying science, technology, innovation for community development, many people don't understand what we're talking about. But science has become something people fear. Even in schools, when they say we're going to do science, we say, hey, I'm finished. I think the whole thing lay in our failure to appreciate why science is important in our development. And that's why the debate on whether science is important vis-a-vis humanities, this history and religious studies, that debate still goes on up to now. Even when the president has come out clearly to say institutions should focus on science. And he has challenged universities, especially public universities, come up with science programs. And in your enrollment, you should have 70% science and 30% humanities. That is the realization that we need some dose of humanities. Maybe you also need some dose of religion to be told how good you need to be to your neighbors, how good you need to love God if you believe in that, for you to be a wholesome human being. So that debate continues. I want to thank the groups that were invited here, National Water, Pepsi, NCDC, and all other groups that will come and participate in this discussion. I'm glad that the gentleman from NCDC managed to come. When I came in, he was being assaulted with many questions, especially from the Namriangos College. I could understand the concerns of the students, because I think the teaching of science in schools needs to be improved. Students need to understand the applications of science. Why do they study science? For example, if as the head of mathematics, why do a student in P5, why should they study mathematics? Or when you go to secondary school, senior one, why should they study physics? Do they understand why they are studying physics? Do they understand the applications of science, chemistry, physics, biology? In life, I think that has been the missing link. I studied science myself, and I think sometimes I say I was very good at mathematics. I used to find it very easy, and I didn't understand why other people were failing mathematics. Because it was very easy. At least to me, yes. But I didn't understand the benefits of doing good mathematics. Physics, those formulae. I was looking at this one, E equals mc squared. What is this? I don't know. But do people understand this? So I think the teaching of science needs to improve to make it applicable. People should understand why they are studying these things. So when I came in, there was this issue of research. Research is all about getting a new knowledge. Getting knowledge. It's not research in universities. Research starts from way back. My colleague from NCDC explained this. I have some children, grandchildren, who go to nursery schools. I think they are now like in P2, P3. They are given research projects. They were doing projects on chlorophyll and the nutrients for they were doing research to understand the requirements for germination. What does a seed require to germinate in their biology class? You are given instructions. Go home, get a number of tins. In one tin, add water and soil, and add the seed. In another one, don't add water. In another one, keep it in the light. In another one, keep it in the dark. And keep observing what happens every day for 30 days. That is research. And they did very good research and wrote good reports about requirements for germination. That's how you tend to appreciate research. And when we talk about community development, really we should use the knowledge we have for community development to develop our communities. They should not remain backward when we have professors, heads of departments who are experts in this field. And that's why I like this theme of demystifying science. Giving it in a simple language so that people can understand it. In addition to dancing it the way this lady was doing, I don't think I can imitate her strokes. They are too advanced for me. But people must understand the role of science in our development and move off from debating what is most important, science, religion, and all that. And then another thing I heard people talking about is the ranking. I think ranking is important. Even when you are in a group of people, you need to know who is taller and who is shorter. And that one, you do it through schools. I think ranking in schools is good. At some point through their growth, students should not come from P1 to P7 without ever being tested and ranked. I think that NCDC needs to look at this. And that curriculum, by the way, is a tricky curriculum. Even the teachers don't understand it very well. And they are supposed to teach it. But as a country, we had to make a start. Let us start and see what happens. And we observe the challenges and correct them as we go forward. And that was the stance we took. Unfortunately, we wanted the support of the parliamentarians, and they do not understand what we are talking about curriculum. Some of them ask, what is curriculum? They're not concerned. We have a new crop of parliamentarians in this country, which needs to be informed. I hope they will not hear this. If they land on me, they will have me for breakfast. But I've told them this, they need to stir up. Some of them told us, we don't know curriculum. You take your curriculum. For them, they're interested in money. That's their focus. So NCDC has a big duty to educate the teachers on how to handle this curriculum. But it's a good curriculum because it is largely practical oriented, learning by doing. When I was talking about ranking, I remembered one. See, parents are interested in rankings. If you are sending a student to school, how is she performing? Is he the first in the class? Is he the last? And when we were going to school, this used to be an area for competition. We used to compete to be the best. I remember my uncle had a way of motivating us. When I was in senior 3, I think I was starting to feel very proud for being in secondary school. That's the time when students learn how to smoke, how to drink alcohol, because you have now arrived. You have people below you whom you can bully and tease. So I think my performance had declined a little bit. And he promised me that if I was the first in the class, he would buy me a Strads trousers. For some of you are older or about my age, you remember those Strads trousers, gray in color. They used to be given to students in entire school. In HSC, you should see those boys in Strads. I don't know whether Namiriango Namiriango has those trousers. So we worked very hard to be the first. And God was on my side. I was the first in the class the following term. And I got the strads. That was the end of my being the first, because after that I was very comfortable in my strads. So rankings are very important. They motivate people to work hard, to be the best. You can't all be there. You are moving like in a train and you all arrive at the same time. Some people must stay behind and others will go. But that is a policy for NCDC. Then it reminds me one parent who was really concerned about the poor performance of the child. In a class of 40, this child was always 35, 36. And I think the school decided to take those who are not doing well in another stream so that they can give them more attention. So the next time he came home and he was the second. The father was so happy. Then he was interested to find out how many children were in his class. There were only 2. And he wondered why they had done that to his child. But they explained he needed more effort to be told. So I'm glad that really we have this discussion. And I wish you had more schools coming and asking questions about science so that they can understand the applications of science. And you, the organizers of this workshop, is to make sure that you deliver it in a way that is simple and clear to understand. So that when they come from here, they say, yeah, I now appreciate the role of science. Because when you hear the president talking, why do we lag behind? The greatest industry in America is the pharmaceutical industry. It's trillions and trillions of money. That's research. Discovering drugs from herbs, from whatever sources. And the largest expenditure this country has is on buying medicines. So if we can have research and we save some of that money, like the COVID, people will tell you your products are not good enough. But it's better to have a product rather than have nothing. These people will tell you about elitism and quality and the rest. They try to keep the other countries down. When you talk about agriculture, why is our agriculture not advancing? Because we don't have sufficient mechanization. You cannot continue opening land using the hoe. The hoe cannot go far. So you need technology to open large chunks of land, especially for people who come from eastern Uganda, where the land is so big and very flat. With a tractor, you can open acres and acres of land and grow more. And then irrigation. Can we use irrigation so that we don't depend on the weather? All that is science. And when we have had enough food and we are satisfied, then on Sunday we can go to church and pray that our Lord blesses us. But at least when we are satisfied. Talking about demystifying science, you need to understand it before you can explain it to ordinary people in a very simple language. I was working on my doctorate, my PhD, and my professor told me to go and explain what I was doing to my mother. He said, my mother has not been to school. She didn't know how to read and write. He said, you go and explain to her what you are doing. I said, she will not understand it. So he told me, if you can't explain it to her, then you don't understand it yourself. So if you understand it, you'll be able to put it in a language that she would understand. And I had a problem. Because I didn't try to explain to her, because I didn't believe what my professor was saying. But it's true. If you don't understand something, you cannot explain it in a language that ordinary people will understand. And why do we have these universities? They are supposed to be engines of development, engines of social economic transformation. If you have a university and you are not playing that role, you are not fulfilling your role. These schools which are nurturing our students, they should be engines of socio-economic transformation going forward, going up. And we should start nurturing these young people from way back. Let's not wait for them to come to university. By the time they come to university, some of their minds are made up and you cannot change them. So that's why I'm glad that these students are here. And I hope that we'll have many more students coming so that they can understand science. Because we at the university, we cannot promote science when we don't have people coming from lower levels with that understanding of science. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to stop here because tomorrow I'll have an opportunity to speak. But I was interested by what Catherine said about digital literacy. People must be literate, ICT literate, to be part of the development. If you're not digital literate, you are going to remain backward and behind. Give you one example. All banks now are putting their transactions online. You will not go to the bank to draw money. Everything is done online. If I want money on my mobile, I do it on my phone. Banks are closing. They are closing their branches because they don't need them. Because everything is online. And then for you, you say, I don't like science. How are you going to move forward? So we must equip ourselves, both young and old. And as an institution, we must invest in ICT to have that facility available for all our people. Now computers are becoming cheap. Even in schools, secondary schools, the children have computers. In nursery schools, they have computers. Even those who have not been to school, who have not yet to go to school, who are not yet of school-going age, they have iPads. Yeah? You find a child of about 3 years fighting for an iPad. An iPad? And he knows how to download his games on the iPad. They put them there, they play their games, and I look at them and say, God, what's happening? But that's the way the world is going. And we must be part of that journey to the world. I'm glad that the alumni of the university are here. This evening we have a dinner for the alumni of the university, and we're going to be talking to them to interest them in university programs so that they can contribute to the advancement of the university. For many years they have been calling out, yearning for this interaction. Come and talk to us of how we can contribute to the advancement of the university. And we have the first function today in a dinner of about 100 people. And from there, we are going to come out with mechanisms of how to engage alumni in the advancement of the university. We are just following what other institutions do across the world. They mobilize their alumni and they participate in the advancement of the university. Because believe you me, government funding for higher education institutions is going to remain low and is going to be decreasing year by year. There's never enough money for higher education. So we need to find out innovative ways of ensuring that we continue operating as universities and we sustain these institutions. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, I want to thank you, the organizers, for this STEAM Festival. We will be here tomorrow for the official opening and also on Friday for the official closing. So I want to thank you very much. And with that, I don't know whether I want me to launch the festival. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to take this opportunity to launch.
That there are lots of activities still this afternoon, and some very short skit about science. A really brief one. I think He's already assembling something to demystify what he wants to do. So that's, yes, please come over and let us know what he's going to do. Thank you.
As he is putting this up, I want to still try to demystify assessment. I was talking to someone there that every day I get a knife to peel. I don't have a supervisor. Nobody has ranked me, but I always try to do it better and faster. And this goes back to what Barack said, that student who was serious about ranking. That when you judge me as, if I'm a monkey, judge me in terms of how high I can climb. And sometimes it is more interesting when I am able to judge myself. As I talk to you, this gentleman who brought this poly, he has never gone to any music school, but he has passion for production. He is the brain behind the STEAM dance. All the instruments in there, he did it. He has never gone to any music school. I only did the vocals. He did everything else. And we recorded it inside my car. And this tells you that innovation has no limits. And if you can believe in yourself, even if nobody is there to rank you, you can actually fly. Because we call it Subaru Studios. I don't know, he has no name yet for his production company. So yes, we can do this because sometimes ranking has caused trouble, and we have seen what has been happening. People are literally grilled to pass exams. So it is not that ranking is bad, but sometimes when people do the ranking with other interests, it actually kills the value. And that's why I'm personally happy with the 1, 2, and 3. Because you're either basic, you're moderate, or you're excellent. Thank you very much. So next on stage is the Kyambogo University alumnus. He is so passionate about Kyambogo that he still remembers the colors of the Kyambogo University logo. And as an addition to celebrate the preliminary opening of this event, he will be coming to show us something. I know all of us have gone through a chemistry class, and sometimes we don't know that chemistry can be so beautiful. My friend, Martin Cafero, you are welcome. Yes. I'm also waiting to see what is going to happen because I just see things here. Oh. Ah, I see glasses. Can I put on some of these glasses? Ah, thank you. I don't know whether I'm going 3D, 4D, 5D. How do I look? Terrific, not dangerously looking. I'm told he wants to give me fire. How safe am I with the fire? I need to come outside and pick fire. Okay, let me go pick fire.
many people don't see science that way. Many people don't see science as a story. To many people, I mean, they take science as a collection of facts that they are forced to learn in school, and immediately they are done with exams, they are happy to drop it. But that's what not science is all about. In fact, science is a way of thinking, a way of skeptically interacting with our environment with a fine understanding of human errors. It's a way of asking questions and making sense of what we see. And here I have some other cool demo for you, and I hope as we're performing, students will be making sense of whatever will be happening here. And so therefore, let me call 3 students to come over. 3 students, please. You can come over. Randomly, 3 students can come over. Oh, what about girls? Girls are not, only boys. Okay, so we can have, Dr. Savannah, you can represent women maybe, ladies?
I am the woman.
Yeah, okay, so how, because you have 3, okay, thank you. So now, as you can see, we are going to do something that involves catalysts. A catalyst is a substance that speeds up the rate of a chemical reaction, or that increases the speed of a chemical reaction. And of course, we have catalysts. I mean, we interact with them every day. Enzymes in our bodies are catalysts. And of course, they are used in industries, in bakeries, and all that. So we are going to use a catalyst. And how are we using it? Under normal circumstances, hydrogen peroxide, that very chemical that women use to tint their hair, or even white teeth, under normal circumstances, it breaks down from oxygen and water in presence of light. But that reaction is very slow. It's not that fast. So we are going to use a catalyst, and we are choosing potassium iodide to break down hydrogen peroxide to produce oxygen and water. And the way we are going to do it, we are going to use the colors of Kyambogo. That means we are going to have bubbles of oxygen with the colors of Kyambogo. I guess orange, blue, and green. So, and I hope it will really be amazing. So let's start now. So this is the catalyst. So you can hold this one, and you can come over, please. Come over. Okay, so now we have colors. So let me just add colors. So I hope we'll be able to see the colors there. And then we have some blue here. And so we have some orange. And I like the orange in the center. Then after that, because we need to trap oxygen, and you can't just trap oxygen, we are going to trap it in the bubbles of soap. So I'm adding some soap. Adding some soap here. So maybe I can do some mixing, though not that serious, okay? Okay. Science is very interesting, very interesting. You can't talk the survival of humanity without science. It would be very impossible, eh? Very, very impossible. And that's why we need to get children into science. They must be really inspired the moment they join school. And that means we need to teach science in a different way, in a way that is really engaging and interactive, in the way that is captivating the thoughts of children. So now, we are making a countdown of 5. Okay, so we are starting 5, 4. As you reach 0, you are going to power your catalyst in here, and you're going to power here, and, okay? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, please. Let's see what happens here. So now we are decomposing, we are breaking down hydrogen peroxide in order to form oxygen and water. So this is the steam, and since it's a STEAM festival, this is water in form of steam, okay? But there is a lot of oxygen being trapped in here. And I think for chemistry, like chemistry teachers, this is a very, very great science demo. to use when you're teaching about catalysts in a class. And of course, it will be quite memorable for students. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that steam. Why don't you clap for him one more time? Thank you. Clap even for this young man from, I used to call it NGO. Thank you so much. Some of us who love to do chemistry or did chemistry a few seconds ago, you can now fall in love with this chemistry. That's great. Hey, wow. So how about the glass there? It doesn't break at all. Yeah, I suspect so. I'm not very sure. And all this stuff here. But that's great stuff. So right now, I am sure that we have our adjudicators on the ready. And the presenters, where are you? Because we want to run through a few talks as the Dean Science and the Dean Engineering can may work with the CEO just to show him what is going to happen tomorrow. Because the CEO has, first of all, to convince himself. Now today, the deans are hosting. But tomorrow, it is the VC who is hosting. So he has to be sure and certain. We are all not there tomorrow. It is the VC who is going to host the chief guest. So the VC has got to really see and check and confirm that what is on exhibition is actually to the level that we are going to be proud of. So the Dean Science plus the Dean Engineering and potentially one head of department. In this organization, we have been so serious about gender. Where need be, we would have 2 ladies and 1 gentleman. So in this case, 1 dean, the male, is representing all the other deans. 1 dean, the female, is representing all the other deans. And 1 head of department, the female, representing all the other heads of department. They may so choose to show the VC what is expected tomorrow, because he cannot host what he hasn't confirmed. But we thank you, and at your free time, the Dean Science may lead you somewhere. But the youngsters who have organized their, is it 5-minute talk? Now is the time. And we have the adjudicators here. I had their name somewhere. So if you are around, please walk over here. Waswa, where are you? Where is Waswa? Please walk over and begin to give us your 5-minute talk. And we have the adjudicators to later on tell us who of you will have been, the other one. So after Waswa, we shall go to Tracy Gomie and Musasizi, if you are there, and Kisachi. You are? Oh, perfectly so. So sanitize. We must all be sanitized. Thank you. Feel that steam. Don't mind. These guys are organizing themselves, but in the meantime, be steamed up by what they're going to do. On 5 minutes begins now. Thank you.
I greet you all in the name of the Almighty God, and I thank you for coming. Please feel at home and feel at peace. By names, I'm Kasuja Joshua, doing a bachelor's degree in information systems from the Faculty of Science in the School of Computing and Information Science. And I've escorted a colleague to elaborate to you, as the theme of STEAM Festival is Demystifying Science. First of all, I will try to explain the meaning of demystifying. Demystifying means the breakdown, making something, it operates to a subject, making it more simple and easy to understand. For our sake, we come from computer science department, and we're here to demystify technology dealing in the genesis of computer networks. As the world is evolving in the line of computing, whether you want it or not, we have to follow the computing. And our computers or phones have become an essential device to our lives in the day-to-day life, in various sectors, in all other fields. Either you want it or not, you have to live with the computer. But how can we make them network? Computer networking generally means the connection of interrelated devices, making resource sharing and communication operate, or to implement resource sharing and communication easier. So in computing, we can network computers no matter the distance or the geographical distance, and communication is implemented. In our elaboration, we shall show what you really need to implement a computer network. What are the advantages of computer network? Makes communication efficient and easier. It makes information storage easy and more secure. Resource sharing becomes more simple and easier. Communication becomes faster as compared to the general population without computer networks. So let me allow my friend to explain more to make you understand how computer networks operate. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for the great opportunity given to me. By names of Waswa Godfrey. It is STEAM Festival, so I would love to STEAM Kyambogo University with computer networks. It is the generation of computer networks. Thank you so much for the opportunity. The major reason as why we're here, it is due to the vacuum that we've seen that there is a lot of unemployment, very many people coming out of the university, or very many people coming out of schools with their theoretical knowledge, but they don't know the practical bit of what they actually study. So the major aim of the genesis of computer networks is to make sure that students, non-technical people, are able to understand what is really required to come up with a networked environment. What is really required to make an environment fully practically operational. That's why we came up with the genesis of computer networks. To get more information about the genesis of computer networks, since this is a talk show, we are situated outside there in our computer, the tent. It is Faculty of Computer Science. It is basically going to show, we are basically there. We want to expose the world, Kyambogo University, the country, about networking. So please, members, come and see what is really required to come up with a networked environment. Today, very many things, very many components, very many situations we see networking coming in the environment we work in. But we all of us don't know how these things really work. We don't know where internet comes from. We don't know how we are going to share resources, like the way we can easily communicate inside here. People can listen to us. People outside there can listen to us. So how is that coming into the real world? That is all networking, but how is it coming out? Please come to our tent, Computer Science. We shall explain more about it. How can we even get internet from different towers, different service providers, how we can put it into real practical understanding. It is the reason as why we are in the STEAM Festival. So please come and visit our computer science tent, and we show you more about computer networks. Thank you so much.
Time up, please.
Good, thank you. Next presenter. Please note that you have just 5 minutes to do your quick talk. Good. Tell us your name, and then the rest will clear names, what you are doing, maybe where, which faculty, things like that. And then you proceed. 5 minutes.
I'm called Kwesi Gomwe Alan. I'm doing Bachelor of Science in Chemical Process Engineering. I'm in my year 3. Have you ever imagined if we can get a natural, safe, and cleaning detergent that can clean for long hours without cleaning? Maybe I see cleaners here after every 2 hours they go back to clean the offices there. Can you imagine that life where we only clean maybe in the morning or after like a day? That's why I got my probiotic detergent. What this one does, for it has small, I call maybe microorganisms, but let me call them army for the start. These armies help us to keep our, maybe the sinks, bathrooms, our toilets clean for long hours. How? If you are using this detergent, you just spray around the place you are cleaning, you wait for some minutes, then you rinse with water. How will it clean the place? This army packed inside here, it will deny other disease-causing organisms that are in place. Those disease-causing organisms, say the bacteria, the pathogens, they will not be able to get food. My army will outcompete them. Secondly, it will produce harsh conditions for them. Maybe you can say they will be hot for them in that they will not be able to survive. Now, they are denied food. They are denied, they are living in harsh conditions. They will not produce. They will be eliminated. Then another thing is about the biodigester toilets. This is the good technology that I like, because when you are using the biodigester toilets, we have also another part of the army that is used in those toilets to break down the organic matter, in that the solid waste is separated from the liquid waste. So you can use the water separated either to refresh your toilet, or you take it for irrigation in your farms, because it will be having the nutrients. But when you use our harsh chemical detergents that we have been using, they will kill my army that is in the biodigester toilets, in that it will cease to be the biodigester toilets. It will get full normally, the smell will be high. But when you use this detergent that I got from natural things, the plants that are around us, it will actually empower them, because even it can break down the organic matter, it doesn't affect them. It has no these harsh chemicals that can make their functioning disabled. Secondly, this biodigester, this BioSurf, my probiotic detergent, is got from the usual plants that are around our homes, around our places of residences. Meaning that, one, they do not irritate your skin. Those of you who have some allergies and so on, your skin remains safe. It has no artificial fumes in that can enter into you, in that your breathing system will be affected. And thirdly, even if you release it to the environment, say the soil, the water channels, and so on, the living, say the aquatic life in water, will not be affected, because it is natural and organic, 100%. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next presenter. Mr. Asizi. Or if you're still delaying, could we have Kisache? Sumenya, be on the ready. Just if you haven't started, don't mind. Sumenya and your team. Niger is the next one. So please be nearby here. Please, the time is now.
Good afternoon, STEAM Festival. My name is Chisache Priscilla from the Department of Nutritional Sciences and Dietetics. And I'm pursuing my bachelor's in Human Nutrition and Dietetics. Diabetes, hypertension, cancer, non-communicable diseases. Did you know that non-communicable diseases is one of the major causes of death in the world? Here is a solution to non-communicable diseases. Breastfeeding. Mothers, did you know that non-communicable diseases-free future starts with breastfeeding? How? When you breastfeed your children, you're improving the health of your children and improving your health as well. How? Mothers, breastfeeding prevents blood pressure. How? This is how breastfeeding prevents high. You should make the best decision to breastfeed your children. Also as STEAM Festival, we can promote breastfeeding. How? We encourage the young mothers and the mothers to breastfeed. The medical personnel,
when she is malnourished and an adolescent, she's likely to get anemia. She's likely to get a number of complications because of being malnourished, including low mental ability. That when they become an adult and later get pregnant with low malnutrition, they'll still repeat the cycle, and the cycle will keep repeating itself. And that is how the generation becomes generation to generation. That is why we are emphasizing proper nutrition between conception and 2 years after birth. Those are the first 100 days of a child's life. So, thank you so much for listening. I invite you to our tent. It's for the Department of Nutritional Sciences and Dietetics. We will give you more information about nutrition, how we can use nutrition to prevent, to manage non-communicable diseases in our country. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I'm also going to invite you to my tent, and my tent is called the food tent. But that is after the last presenter who had actually got to organize for some food. So, poison, why is it called poison, by the way? Oh, the pistol. The pistol in some place. So you have 5 minutes. He's a presenter, timekeeper, please. If you need a mic, use this one.
ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bison Naija, and I'm an alumnus of Kyambogo University, a teacher by profession, with physics, math as my teaching subjects. Here I go. I'm going to present about ceramic pot filters for water purification. As we were starting the discussion here, there was a nice lady there who simply said that water is life. Over the primary, they used to tell us that water is life. But me, I don't believe that. It is not just water that is life. You can have a look. Is this water life? Is it live? Okay, it's live. I can feel the life. It's there. I ask the same question. Is it still live? It is no longer life. I can no longer take it, please. Someone to test. What organism is life? That's bad. Okay. I may pose a question. Have you ever experienced a water crisis in your area? Yes, the answer is yes. Each one of us. I remember during my campus times here at Kyambogo, I was staying in Nursery Hall. We experienced water crisis for 24 hours. We had nothing to do. They vary and fetch ground dirty water for drinking, for washing our clothes. We suffered typhoid after 1 week. Our white shirts turned into brown because of using dirty water. Can you imagine if the same situation is the whole of Kampala region? What would happen? What would happen really? I've therefore come up with the simplest means and cheapest means of purifying water, the use of ceramic pot filters. How do they look like? I need only locally available materials, that is sawdust, or coffee husks, or rice husks. These are mixed with clay. Water from streams. More so, 68 out of 100 Ugandans do not have access to toilets. They practice, 38 of those practice open defecation, the act of going by the roadsides and forests. The rains wash away those feces into the streams, into the wells, where the other 19 Ugandans get their drinking water. You can imagine what happens after that. You can imagine. I've therefore come up with the simplest means. Because costs are high. This bottle of water is buying 1,000 shillings. I can replace it by use of a ceramic filter and add that 1,000 shillings on buying a bar of soap. The prices of soap are high. Therefore, I need to collect a lot of money from different areas. One by one makes a bundle. As I'm coming, when I reach Nakawa, there is a big post where they say, every journey starts with one step. You cannot complete a journey when you have not moved the first step.
Timer.
Thank you so very much. Since this is being awarded something, you cannot be given extra hours. Seconds, that will not be fantastic. We will define that one in a different direction. Ladies and gentlemen, the food is now available. We have come to the end of presentations and lots of discussions for today, but before we end it formally, let me invite the chairperson of the welfare. We also call him the mayor for the department. If we are lacking anything, just tap the mayor and you are sorted out. So mayor, otherwise, is also Dr. Robert Setekera. He's a serious industrial mathematician. Mayor, please.
Thank you very much and welcome once again, members, to the event, the festival. I welcome students from Namilyango. Please welcome, and other members. So I'm here to speak about a little bit about the welfare, which is going to be having summer lunch. So there's lunch going on down there. And I want Mr. Victor to stand up. Mr. Victor, who knows where the lunch is. Please, he has been giving out coupons. If you have a coupon, you have entrance to the lunching room or dining room. It's down there across the road. Please, it will lead you there and you go for lunch. Even students from Namilyango also will welcome for lunch. As long as you see Mr. Victor, you have seen lunch already. So please don't, once you disappear, lunch disappears away from you as well. But I want to welcome you also for tomorrow. But also after here, please, the park is busy with exhibitions as well. So after the lunch, don't disappear after the lunch, because it's just an opening today.